You know, where Muslims have been a civilization that's settled into many communities around the world. And some of them are more recent. Like, for example, the Muslim migration to Europe, even though some trickles of migration were happening for centuries, within the last century, century and a half, there's a lot more migration to Europe. So Muslims are a new phenomenon in many places in Europe. Muslims are a very new phenomenon in the already new country, America. Right? So we're new in many places. And in those kinds of places, there's complete freedom to be as you please, to do as you please, to become whatever you want to become. And in that world, there are new idols. And those idols are things like philosophies and ideas. Like, what's so wrong with LGBT? What's so wrong with that? I mean, they're human too. What's wrong with homosexuality? There's nothing wrong with it. So why can't Islam be more tolerant? Maybe we should think about, maybe we should reinterpret some things in our religion to make it more acceptable and more tolerant, because how am I going to answer these questions when I go to university campus? So we should update our religion a little bit. And why is Islam so angry? Somebody told me the other day they're thinking about leaving Islam because Islam is it's based on fear. Islam is based on fear, and they want to be spiritual but not based on fear. And I said, I think the only fear you have is of learning Islam, because Islam isn't based on fear. It's based on reason. It's based on contemplation. And when you realize a fire is dangerous and you're not afraid of the fire, then that's stupidity. So if you say, hey, I don't believe in fire being dangerous because it's based on fear. Well, it's based on common sense. Some things you should be afraid of. Some things are poisonous. And our deen gave us the clarity to see what's what, how to understand it. We find ourselves in a strange situation. Muslims find ourselves in a strange situation now where they're saying things like, well, we're living in America, we're living in England, we're America, it's hard, it's hard living in the West, and my kids want a Christmas tree in Christmas. I mean, we're not worshiping Jesus or anything, but what's wrong with a tree? It's just a tree in the house, we could just do dhikr around the tree. Really? Yeah, just a small update. It's not a big deal. If you're gonna live in America, then you have to, go with it. It's not like we're living back in Pakistan, or we're not living in Bangladesh, we're not living in Indonesia, or we're living in America now. Funny enough, there are people in Pakistan and Bangladesh and Indonesia and Malaysia that are putting Christmas trees in their homes. Muslims, right? So you don't have to come to the West now comes to you. You say, hey, you got to keep up with the times. But the question I ask, especially the young men here, when you say, oh brother, it's hard living in the West, is it? Actually, your life is a lot easier than most people on the earth. And your ability and your opportunity to practice your deen and to learn your deen is far more open than many of even the Muslim youth around the world. There are places in the world that I've traveled to where Muslims can get in trouble if you find out they're reading the Quran. The youth they can go to jail. They can go to jail for reading a certain commentary of the Quran. That exists right now. So when you come and say, it's hard living in the West, there's so much fitna, bro. Then this idea that you are somehow so weak and so pathetic that if you see other idols, then you have to fall in front of them. What can I do? I'm just a poor traveler, and these idols are so beautiful, then I just mold my Islam a little bit and fall in front of these idols. This is a lie we tell ourselves.